Hello and welcome again to Let's Play Shadows of Amn, and this is Policy of Madness. Last time we endured a massive exposition dump.
Nothing to it.
And now we are under the asylum of Spellhold in the maze. We're allegedly being hunted by Bodhi, but we're actually not going to see her until we get to the end. There's a mod that will have Bodhi showing up periodically to harass you. I've seen it. It's not something I want to put up with myself. And we lost all our bowl spawn powers.
I'm waiting.
It's okay, we weren't really using them here anyway. I kept forgetting that we had them. They served us very well in the first game. And I'm quite glad that we had them. But we're not actually going to miss them here now. The first time I played Shadows of Amn, I got to this point, and I wasn't using a walkthrough. I didn't even know walkthroughs existed. I think they did exist, but I didn't know it. Shit, fire. There's a trap right here. You can kind of see it. I couldn't figure out how to get past that trap. Now we have our bag of holding. I couldn't figure out how to get past that trap. I tried like every possible thing I could think of. Except going around it. I didn't know that you could go around it. And I got so frustrated I put the game down for a long time. Like a long time. Last time and the time before that I was talking about American foreign policy. And how, oh, I got several of them there. And how
Vita Mortis. Vita Mortis. Incursus Pulcur Imperium.
and how morality doesn't really come into consideration. Sometimes this leads the United States into trouble. A good example of why morality probably should be a consideration would be the Vietnam War. The Vietnamese people have always been a coherent group. There's always been a group that you could point to and say, these are the Vietnamese. They've always been culturally, linguistically, ethnically different. From the peoples around them. And that area where the Vietnamese people live, not sure about that. Alright. Okay, I mean this is fine if you have a mage or Imoen when you're here and Imoen has like no equipment. I guess this is fine. See, I don't really understand the idea that sanity is best measured by one's ability to answer stupid riddles. But whatever. That area has been conquered and occupied by foreign powers numerous times during recorded history. But the Vietnamese have never assimilated. You know, they just like any other people, they have adopted some aspects of the ruling culture, but never actually assimilated into the ruling culture. They've always been a distinct people. And furthermore, they have a distinct little stretch of land where they have historically lived. See, this is basically the same riddle as the one that we faced in the other room. The writers here were apparently kind of running out of ideas. So you have all the all the ingredients here for a recipe for a state. You have a distinct territory, you have a people who are a coherent nation. Why can't this be a state? Alright. So now we have a ring of regeneration, which would be awesome if we didn't already have a ring that gives us better regeneration, plus a whole bunch of other shit. So here's the other side of the little passage here with the trap in it. I just got so frustrated. I can't even describe to you how frustrated I was.
Vita mortis.
They'll actually set off that trap if you blow them in there. We're gonna have to explore that a little bit. Take one for the team, dude.
Yes. Whatever you want.
Alright. Methods.
Tell me all about it.
I shall prevail.
I'm waiting.
Come on.
if you say so. Yes. Tell me all about. Of course.
I shall prevail. I shall prevail. I shall prevail.
If that's what you want.
I shall prevail. I shall prevail. I shall prevail.
I don't have a third stone. Where's the third stone? I think I looked here. During the 1800s, the French occupied that area of the world and decided it belonged to them. Where is the third stone? I know it's here. Huh. Third stone. There's the third stone. Just couldn't find it inside the bag, I guess.
I'm waiting.
Don't actually remember what's the third stone summons up. Okay, apparently nothing. Alright,
Yes.
so I guess we're done here. For now, anyway.
Tell me all about it.
The French occupied that area along with Cambodia, and I believe later they occupied Laos. And they called it French Indochina because they either didn't realize or didn't care that the Vietnamese and the Cambodians are actually a different group.
Is that all?
And during World War II, the French became incredibly weak. The French state, of course, was overrun by the Nazis, and the French state was dismantled and a puppet state was installed. The French had essentially no power available to defend what they called French Indochina. And it didn't take long before the Japanese showed up. The Japanese at that time were conquering as much of East Asia as they could in order to constitute an empire. And they ran over the area that is today Vietnam as well. And they conquered the very weak French government that was there. And for a while, they and the French kind of co-ruled. The Japanese were actually in charge, but the French did all the administrative work. And after a while, the Japanese kind of put all the French in jail. So here's a thing that the United States never seemed to grasp, is that the Vietnamese did not lay down for either the French or the Japanese or the Chinese before them or any of the other groups that had occupied that area during their history.
Nothing to it.
Oh, yes. The Vietnamese never just stood for this. They resisted the French. They resisted the Japanese.
Yes. Tell me all about it. It doesn't what do you...
Yeah, that's much better damage. Alright. Okay, go away. Of course, there was a group that collaborated with the overlords, just because there always is. But as a people, the Vietnamese did not assimilate. Another thing that the Americans never seem to understand bloodthirsty kobold.
I shall prevail. shall prevail. Prevail.
It's an ordinary beholder.
I shall prevail. I shall prevail.
Several magical items. Really just one magical item. And a couple of scrolls. But, okay, I'll take it.
I'm waiting. Yeah, nothing to it.
I shall prevail.
Tell me all
I shall prevail. Shall prevail.
F
I shall prevail. I shall prevail. I shall prevail.
So there was a history of resistance to
if you say so.
conquering powers in Vietnam. Oh, here we go.
I shall prevail.
In cactus pulca. In
I shall prevail. I shall prevail.
in cactus. Yo, ocho, seis.
Alright. There was a history of resistance in the area to these conquering powers. Oh, I wonder why. There's a stake here. Could it possibly be that there's a vampire in my future? And the Americans never really comprehended that the communists played a big, big role in this. Whenever there was, whenever the French came up, so this just goes back out. We're gonna rest here.
Incorrect.
Whenever there was a situation where somebody needed to, I don't know, somebody says, yeah, I need 3 volunteers for a suicide mission. 3 volunteers for a suicide mission. The communists were always the first in line. They were the first to step forward. they got reputations as patriots.
Veritas, credo, oculos. Manus potentes ha. Manus potentes ha. Manus potentes ha. Manus potentes ha.
Surprise!
Manus potentes ha. Incurtus pulcur imperium. Manus potentes ha. Incurtus pulcur imperium. Incurtus pulcur imperium.
The communists got this well-earned reputation for being patriots, for being willing to lay down their lives for their country. So, that's the background to what happened next. And what happened next was incredibly stupid. Following World War II, the United States decided that the best way to counter the Soviet Union was to have a strong capitalist Europe. And they needed at least one country, in order to assure this, they needed at least one country in Europe that was both strong and capitalist. The obvious choice for this would normally have been
Your blood is rather inviting.
Germany, but Germany, for obvious reasons, was not in the running at this point. Dace. Or Dossie. Not sure which.
Your blood is rather inviting.
Oh, I don't actually care. Alright. Now we're done with this area. With Germany out of the running, the only other reasonable choice was France, but France had just been smashed. Alright, we're not gonna go through there yet. So the United States made it their goal to restore France to a position of power. It seems like there's possibly shit in here. Oh. No big.
Is that all?
One of the means that was used
I'm waiting.
was
Yes.
to restore the power of France. And how do you do that?
Nothing.
Our first couple of tokens. Oh, we leveled up. Let's do that. See what we get. A potion of strength. Yeah. Whatever. One of the ways that the United States used was to attempt to restore the colonial empire of France.
Yeah, just ask. Tell me all about
Let's see if any more trolls are here. Alright. And since French Indochina, as it was called, was part of the previous colonial empire of France, the United States decided to help France retake it. Got all 4 paintings now? Yep. Alright.
I'm waiting.
The French decided that their national honor depended on them having an empire, just like they had previously had.
I shall prevail. I shall prevail. I shall prevail.
Oh wow, okay. That's okay. He's vulnerable to this.
Tell me all about it. If you say so.
Oops.
Incorrect.
That looks different from how spirit trolls normally look. Okay.
Yeah, if that's Tell me all about it. What
I shall prevail. I shall prevail. I shall prevail.
Oh, look at that. They're just ordinary wolf warriors, so we're fine. I wonder if death will take them out. The answer is yes. So the French almost immediately went to re-establish their dominance over the area which is today known as Vietnam and the people which are today known as the Vietnamese. Clay golems. You know what? This looks like a time for a job for time stop.
Incursus Imperium. Incursus Imperium.
Alright.
I'm waiting. Yes.
Incursus.
Tell me all about it. Is that all?
Now the stupidest part of this is that Ho Chi Minh, who was the main mover of the Vietnamese independence movement at the time, was a huge fan of the United States.
To it.
He gave a little speech about how it was essentially a Declaration of Independence for Vietnam. And he cribbed bunches of it from the American Declaration of Independence. Now you can do these and get yourself hasted and healed, and then there's two of them that actually damage you. I think one is fire and the other one is lightning. But I don't really care about that. We're fully healed. We don't need to be hasted. If we needed to, we'd haste ourselves. Yeah, I think that's all that we need here.
Here, mousy, mousy, the hunt draws to a close, here and now. I know I'm early, but just couldn't bear to see you leave. You were amusing, but the game is over. One last time, let our paths cross in blood.
This is not actually going to be the last time we see each other.
Yes.
Oh, never mind.
This shall not keep long.
What is this? A creature of pure death and darkest shadow. Child of Baal, what have you become? Away! Irenicus must know of this. We will observe from a distance.
Can't even see it because we're all blurred. He cribbed a lot from the American Declaration of Independence. And
All about it.
he was a big old fan of George Washington and really looked up to him, and it would have been actually kind of easy for the United States to make a friend of him, had the United States been interested in doing that. Okay.
Whatever you want.
It's down here. Don't remember. Oh, it's a door.
I'm waiting. Just ask.
Okay. Limited wish.
Yes. Tell me all
And
about
through here, as far as I recall, are some beholderkin. Maybe some beholders. Don't really remember. Minotaurs and a Gouth. Okay.
I'm waiting. Yes. Nothing to it. Tell me all about it. Whatever you want.
But the United States didn't care. To whatever degree they did care, they were only looking at Ho Chi Minh's possible communist connections. He did spend some time in the Soviet Union and may or may not have picked up some communist leanings in that during that period of time. I've distinkified the souls. If we put in 20 tokens, we'll get Jester's Mail, which can be worn by bards, but removes their spellcasting ability, so it's kind of shit. This is probably the best result, although we already have some. And these are the boots that we didn't get in the original Baldur's Gate, I think because my charisma sucked when we were turning in the quest that would have otherwise given them to us. But to tell the Vietnamese that the communists were bad news would have been kind of like if Martians had come to the United States shortly after the Americans' Revolutionary War and had said, you know, that George Washington, he's bad news.
I'm waiting.
You better stay away from him. You know, he'll just lead you astray. The Americans would have been like, what the hell? George Washington has been putting his life on the line every day for years. And we've seen it. And where the hell were you? You know, Martians. Goblin Commando. Do we even know what that is? See what Goblin Commandos carry. A lot of nothing. Anything else lootable here? You know, the Americans would have said quite reasonably, where the hell were you, Martians, while George Washington was putting his life on the line every day for the past couple of years. And, you know, we discovered that the Martians were actually backing up the British. Like, why the hell would we listen to them?
If that's what you want.
Oh, wait a minute.
Incurtus Fulcrum Imperium. Incurtus Fulcrum Imperium.
Whatever. Alright.
Whatever you decide.
This is one of the better items in the game. And you might never get it if you just go and talk to these spirits right away. Yeah, except I didn't ask. You asked. Some more fucking riddles. You know, the moral thing to do when faced with a state that, or a nation that wants to have its own state, would be for the United States to back it. The United States should have backed Ho Chi Minh. That would have been the moral thing to do. But instead, they backed France and tried to help France retake Vietnam. And then the Vietnamese, of course, reacted very poorly to that. And after that, they were no longer willing to listen to anything the United States said. Was kind of a betrayal of Ho Chi Minh's ideals.
Incorrect.
Is that all? Nothing to it.
It's easy in this area to lose track of the one's summons, because you get teleported between areas, and the summons don't always come with you. So we're gonna wait before we go forward. So after the French finally gave up, at that point the Vietnamese were perfectly willing to rely on the communists, because the communists had fought the occupying powers, they'd fought the French, they'd fought the Japanese, they'd laid down their lives, they shed a lot of blood. And the Americans, whom the Ho Chi Minh at least absolutely admired and totally expected to back them up, didn't. They instead backed up the French. So what motive at that point do the Vietnamese have to do anything the Americans say? And the answer is none. No motive whatsoever. And at that point it was super easy for them to fall into the arms of the communists, and that's exactly what they did. At that point, doing the moral thing would have actually saved the United States trouble. A disgusting eight-legged beast. Looks a little bit like a drider. And we get this. Not really worth it. Had the United States done the moral thing, probably the Vietnamese War would have never happened. But we didn't, and so it did. Don't think you were intended to survive.
What would you like?
That's it for this time. Oops. Didn't actually intend to do that.
Ah, there you are. I see that you've weathered the storms of this place with reasonable pluck and health. It does me good to see you alive. Alright. So that's it for this time. People moving around in here. Irenicus is one of them. Next time we'll do some more about trying to get out of here. So, oh look, this is entirely explored, including this thing. So, join me then. Later.